Hey, everybody, I'm Carl Krauskopf, and I have dedicated my career to real estate investing with a specific focus on multifamily properties. Now, I've learned the tremendous value that these investments have to offer. And today, I'd like to share some insights around how to add value in some of the various strategies that you can employ on your next multifamily property. Now, of course, you look at what are the ways to add value, and that is ultimately to increase your net operating income. Now, you can either increase your income or decrease your expense. Those are the two ways that I like to categorize the value add strategy. So, on the income side, one of the most common ways to add value is to renovate units and move in higher and move in higher paying leases. So one example, one thing that I'm doing right now on my Wenatchee property is I'm spending roughly $5,000 to renovate some of my units, and ultimately I'm increasing my rent by about $400. Now, that is obviously in addition to adding expense or renovating some of the common spaces, now adding laundry, repainting the exterior, remodeling some of the walkways, etc. But we're talking about just the interiors, renovating $5,000 for a $400 rent increase per month. That's a little over a 1 year return period. That is fantastic. Now, another effective value add strategy is adding amenities. Now, some of the amenities that are really clean, simple, and easy to add may not necessarily increase your income directly, but could be seen as a way to retain tenants. Is simple things like I've added bike racks. I have added or renovated rather laundry facilities, so added new higher performing, lower cost laundry facilities. I've added community gardens and ultimately things like that. Also in unit laundry that can help and that have helped not only retain, improve tenant satisfaction, but specifically that in-unit washer dryer as an example is one way that you can go in I have gone in and add about $40 to $50 per month in rent for what was about a $3,000 expense, both on the appliances as well as the rehab itself necessary. Now, from an income standpoint, you can obviously start adding on fees, application fees, credit check fees, pet rent fees, storage, parking, covered parking, secured parking. You can start adding anything and everything that makes sense and that the tenant base will bear. Obviously, the number one thing to do from your due diligence standpoint is make sure you know what the market is charging and what is marketable. So you don't want to become unmarketable in the sense that you're charging fees for everything and your competition isn't. So make sure you know what the market is doing. That's super critical to the whole value add strategy. Operational improvements is how you decrease your expense. Now, my favorite thing to do is looking at your property management and payroll and helping to optimize that. And some different ways again that I've talked about in the past is that hybrid model of where I've gone in and I've added a layer of control to the lease up and marketing phase of the new leases, and where again I wasn't getting as much transparency and quick throughput as I had hoped and anticipated for. So again, I go in, it is an added expense out of pocket, but there's ways that you can renegotiate your contract with the property management company, as well as ultimately reducing your vacancy. Now, other ways from an operating expense that I like to do is go in and remove some of your expenses like natural gas in exchange for electric, or other ways of adding in windows. So using strategic capital expenditures to go in and reduce your operating expense. Now, lastly, is one other thing to mention is renegotiating contract services. So if you look at like your landscaping bill, what ways can you go in and reduce your landscaping design in an effort to reduce your landscaping bill? So obviously, the larger your property, the larger the impact some of these improvements will have. Now, again, the other thing is submetering your utilities. So this is a costly item, and I have not personally done it, but things that you can go in, add electric submeters to your apartments. You can submeter your water, submeter your sewer. A lot of times, it's quicker, easier, and obviously a lot cheaper to just go in and stand up a utility bill back program. Now, you're not going to be able to recapture 100% of the utility expense in a utility bill back, but again, you can stand it up quicker. You can start getting that return on investment much quicker than going through with the submetering process. Lastly, repositioning your property. So this would be doing a massive overhaul, whether it's converting motels into long-term multifamily properties, converting hotels into multifamily, or even as simple as rebranding and completely changing the face of the property itself. So different ways to reposition the property. Typically, a repositioning is going to be a lot of effort, but also come with big return. So value add strategies, one of my favorite topics. Shoot me a DM if you have any questions, and I'd love to hear what you're doing too on your value add strategies. If this content is helpful, if it's valuable, please share, comment, and ask questions here. If it's not, help me make it more relevant for you. I'd love to help. I'd love to bring value back over to the community. Thanks, everybody.